Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's dive in. Today is the last skill of the core curriculum of an ancient educated man, which is Hua. I translate it as a watercolor because of the material used in Chinese paintings. It's different from the Western concept of painting, which is oil painting. It involves a lot of color mixing, layering, perspectives, all that are Western. But the Chinese color painting, if it's in color, because a lot of them are not in color, just ink in various degrees, shades of gray, okay? And it's water ink for the most part, and occasionally add some color accent. And I think that's probably more equivalent to today's watercolor technique because it's water-based. And it involves a lot of inking, the process of almost like an uncontrolled process of water diluting and expanding on the surface of paper. And I'm sure there are specialized paper, specialized ink to create that effect. And there are layering, but it's more, I guess, random. And for people who are good at watercolor painting, probably they have done so many pieces, they know almost like the behavior of water, how water expand through the paper, how they travel on paper, so to speak. So that, anyways, again, just like a shu involves 3-finger hand symbol holding a brush. And you can see probably ancient times, shu and hua, at least 2 set, they're similar. And probably paper different, I don't know that much yet. But this hand holding a brush, same gesture. You're using the same hand, same brush, and probably doing similar things. But the end result is way more complicated and probably more realistic 2D representation to the 3D world we're living in. Because when you're doing this calligraphy, it's abstract Chinese characters, which is abstraction already. And then there are different formats of, stylized Chinese characters. But then Hua, I guess Chinese doesn't really have the perspective thing, but the way they see the world and put that on a 2D when they have the space to show you how they see the world, I think that itself tells culturally how this this culture are perceiving the world. Anyways, this 3-finger holding the brush. And then, before I was thinking, Hua actually means, okay, this is the frame of your living space, and there is something hanging in the middle of frame. I'm thinking about the indoor space, your living room, and your painting are hung up on the wall. That's the very first episode I did 4 years ago. And 风景如画 said the scenery is so good, it almost looked like from the painting. And this 风景如画, I was understanding it in a very shallow way. So today I have a new version of the interpretation. So this 3-finger hand symbol holding brush, dropping down onto this thing. So this thing of almost like a circle with a quadrants in it, cross lines in it, it actually means farm field. So ancient times, farmland were cut into smaller pieces so that it can be distributed among different households. Everybody have their, drawn out boundaries of this is your land, this is your neighbor's land, something like that. So this box quadrant literally shows the farmland, visual representation of farmland. And now the 4 lines outside that. So this 4 lines is not a representation of the physical world. It's an abstraction to mean the borderline is what you're talking about here. Just like we have this face representation, and then on the face, there's a second circular line of face. That means the edges of the face. So we are talking about the surface of the face. And here we're talking about the borders of the farmland. And so, according to scholars, that their interpretation is this at the beginning has nothing to do with the painting on your wall. It is this, whoever is holding the pen probably is not an artist. It's an administrator, local governor, who decides how to draw the borderline between you and your neighbors. Farmland, it was quite a big deal, you can imagine, right? So farmland borderline establishment probably was the trigger of fights between neighbors, between nations, like throughout the history. So you can imagine the importance of drawing the line to everybody's satisfaction. Critical. So I guess ancient times there are ways to do that, but originally this frame is not an artistic endeavor. It is administrative farmland or property land bordering act. This is the, we can call it in today's world, urban planning. This is the planning, like draw up the zones for different properties. And that was the original meaning of this watercolor. And later on, people use that as, I would imagine probably watercolor in ancient China was perceived as, okay, you first draw the outline of things, at least you have the shape right, and then you shade it in and add in some colors. Probably that's the process. And so this first step of having the outline draw, as if it's a borderline on the farmland, was the commonalities between the two activities. That's why this character, that's city planning or farmland planning character, was transferred to this artistic endeavor. So that's what watercolor. And I'm just showing you a corner of a bigger piece of how in Chinese, this watercolor painting, a whole category of that is 山水画, mountain water painting. So that subject matter fascinates generations of culturally educated men out there, and their collection of artworks, a lot of them is outward looking. It's not like a city life domestic. We do have that, but majority, I would say, the subject matter is the mountains out there. And interesting, I wonder if ancient Chinese actually, as admirers of nature, if they actually do something in nature, or they are just observer, like looking afar at the mountains, or do they go hiking, camping within the mountains? That's my question. But at least that they're rendering, because last summer I tried to draw the mountains. It's pretty difficult. But I think they did a good job here, whoever is the author, that have this blank space in there to mean the cloud floating between the mountains by leaving it blank. And you can almost see this watercolor inking, like a spreading, but not spreading. So it's the shade. So first the shape, right? The borderline, then the shade, and then the color, and then the details. So it's quite a unique Chinese lens to look at the landscape and put that in artwork. So that's the fourth skill of the core essential skill sets you have to kind of testify that you're actually indeed an educated man in ancient China. Wow. Thank you for your time. See you another day.